It's 6:29.
Sorry. Pause.
I'm just waiting. Okay. Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the Dover Select Board meeting for Tuesday, January 21st, 2025 to order at 6 p.m. 6:30 p.m. Sorry, that was last week. First item is public comments. Yes, Mike Garber.
Could we get an update on the Horizon service / cell count that Mount Snow might or might not be involved with?
Eric, you want to say something?
No.
What kind of update do you want?
Is it up and running or is it not? Up and
It was
running?
supposedly fully installed. I don't know if it's successful. I know last year's was not successful, the one down by Snow Lake. But we can,
I have the information for the Verizon people. I can reach out and, see if I can get a report on throughput or something on that. But they, to my knowledge, they did put that new updated
yeah,
count
There.
in its different
There.
locations.
and they thought it was a much better location. Are you having trouble with Verizon?
I still
Okay, so maybe we can get some,
I'll reach out and see what information I can get. But to my knowledge, it's up and working.
okay. So, and maybe if we can,
it'd be nice to know if it's up and working.
right. And there was a big, we had a special meeting, like an emergency special meeting to get it up
Just to get
before
it
it snowed and
printed.
everything,
Yeah.
so I'm hoping that it is working, but it sounds like it may not be working very well. So, yes, we will try to get that information. If not, we'll have to reach out to Mount Snow. Because if they don't want to share it with us. Yes, Keith?
Just a quick shout out to the highway guys. I live on a bend and it was our streets, our second homeowners. I mean, the highway guys, if you note that, like, the guy that does my street, John, and the new ascot. I had to get out and work for a day, but a great job solving the temperature, probably dropped 25 degrees. The tower was packed. And they
Yes.
did a great job trying to listen. The cloud, people on my street, on toboggan, skiing down. They said there's some quick storms, that.
Yes, the highway department did a very nice job and has so far this season.
Yeah.
And they're down a guy too.
Well, the same with the police, I know there's a couple of calls, going on foot, and it came quick Sunday.
Mike, were you busy?
A lot of cars on this.
Mm. Yeah, well, thanks to all of our employees who pulling together and doing everything. Yes,
I don't like to litmus test on busyness is when on the cash machine said 11 was in. They ran out of money at the ATM and they was busy. Like both ATM ran out of money.
yeah, it was a busy weekend. Yeah,
busy weekend. But they,
thank you. Anything else to add? So can I add to the agenda an update on the marketing data under the economic development? Put that as
F.
F.
Can we move that to the top, actually, just because Tim is currently working?
Absolutely, so that will be A, we'll just push everything down. Thank you. Anything else? Mike, are you gonna sit?
Oh my God.
Okay.
Well, you can back up a little and leave, not
That's
there.
fine, that's fine.
Backwards.
Now I understand. Okay, so under new business, we have authorized Andy McLean to apply for a special use permit with the US Forest Service. Andy?
So y'all got copies of the permit and a little map.
Yep.
So we need to apply for this permit to use that little section that I highlighted on the map there. For the park, and the permit requires a signature. I was gonna sign it and call it good, but I said, you know what? You're properly to go in front of you and ask for your permission to sign it. Sign it.
Any questions? Does somebody want to make a motion? Oh, yes,
Can you see the map?
Sure.
I think I just. Okay, first,
yes.
I make a motion that we authorize Andy McLean to sign the application for transportation, utility systems, telecommunications and facilities on federal lands and property permit for the parking spaces on Handle Road.
second.
Giving Keith a moment to look at the
Yeah, I
map.
appreciate that. Doc, I'm not gonna. I just had a question. Would you vote? Are the landowners like, is there crossing sign up on Ordinance?
Yes,
There, no stipulations, there to go.
so we have easements from the property owners on both sides.
Yes.
And the easement says that it says that we will construct and we will work with them on landscaping. So the Bears Crossing piece, we have not constructed. We've constructed these spaces on Jacob Brown's. These we haven't, and we're talking to the landowner, the owners association of Bears Crossing to get the landscaping down. Get them to sign off on that, before we build it. We won't be building it anyway for another couple of years, but we will need to get together with them on the landscaping. Eric and I have attended a couple of their meetings, but, you know, they meet once a year, so it's tough to have a negotiation or to figure things out. So it's taking a while, but yeah, that's we have the signed easement. They can't, prevent us from building them. It's just that we have to work with them on the landscaping.
Okay, last question.
Yes,
The timing now, because I remember, years ago when we talked about this, when we talked about this, why now and now? When this was put in.
Why
This was put in.
didn't we build the whole thing?
No, like why the permit now? This is like
So-
4 years ago.
Yeah, it was 4
I'm
years
just
ago. Yeah, would you like me to?
yes, please, Andy.
Okay, so, basically, when the Forest Service, wrote the Somerset IRP, they neglected to put in there that this 25 by 50 foot piece would need to be used for parking. And this cleans up that administrative oversight.
On their part.
Yes,
What's the TV?
You good?
Yeah, I thought there was an IRP where no mountain bikes, wasn't there a catch with the mountain bikes or something? Someone caught it. And then they had to redo it.
okay, so, yeah, that's a big, long story.
Okay.
I'm happy to talk to you about it, stop in the office or give me a call or whatever, it's a long story.
Okay. So once this is done, then it's another step.
Well, yeah, once this is done, the next step is that the Forest Service, will schedule, biologists, to go out and look at this section. And also, SOBTA has flagged the routes of the lower trails. So those biologists will look at those exact routes and they will suggest mitigations. All right, so here's a wetland, you gotta put in a boardwalk, or, we want this kind of a ditch here or whatever. So the next step after this is this summer, the biologists look at this and the trail alignments, and then I wanna say SOBTA's website says they wanna start construction on the trails summer of 2027.
But they would need this anyway, before they can even start, and they would need this. What we're doing tonight before they can do anything. We can.
Before we can put shovels in the ground on this piece of property, we need this.
Yeah, so whether they say 2024, we need to. And then they gotta delineate the wetlands too.
Yeah, this summer probably we'll get those biologists out there, they're hard to schedule though.
Perfect.
All good? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Scott?
Can you get that back?
Aye.
Okay, thumbs up.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andy.
Okay,
Thank you.
Moving on to zoning department fee schedule update, Tabby.
We have not had a change in our zoning permitting fees since at least 2006. Somewhere between 2003 and 2006, the permitting fees went to their current numbers, which are far below our surrounding towns, far below anything that really meets what our permitting costs are. I'm sure you have all looked at the grid that I created with fees as current for our surrounding towns. Wilmington, Halifax, Marlborough, Newfane, there's a whole selected closest to us towns. And the fees that I'm proposing fall the same or within the immediate range of what those fees are. So we're not going skyrocketing above any of the surrounding towns. We're pretty much going to be in line with what those fees are.
Did everybody have a chance to look into the zoning fees?
I have a question.
Yes.
In regards to the hearings, is there a hearing needed for the demolition permit?
I do not have anything in our current bylaw that requires a hearing for a demolition permit. We haven't had demolition, but I do feel that that is required. Depending on what is being torn down, there may or may not need to be remediation for any lead paint or asbestos or anything like that. So this will at least cover some of the acknowledgement that something is being torn down and notification to either the construction manager, owner, whoever, that they may need to look into the appropriate state permitting for lead paint remediation, et cetera.
Good, thank you.
Other questions? Yes,
Sometimes on demolition, I think it might be helpful just to put the word out, because Rich Warner's group knows the demolition, they would use the house for practice. They use the house for practice.
And if, for example, we know someone's applying for a demolition permit,
Yeah.
we very well may be able to say and work out something like that.
Like the Jimmy Gibbons did for his house, that was a great. win-win.
or the Eastover Fire Department.
Yes,
Yeah.
the win-win. Practice.
Exactly, but this way, we will know that something is about to be demolished or is planning for demolition, rather than something coming down, falling down, being torn down without any notification
So
until.
would that cover a specific square footage above something? So like if you had a garden shed and you didn't want it anymore and it's like, you know,
10 by 10.
8 by 10 or whatever, do you need a demolition permit for that?
My thought would be, and I haven't really gone into some of the details on that, that if it is under the 100 square foot, which is our permit sizing for putting up a shed or something like that, it would not necessarily require that. We can get into some of the details unless it is something that was covered, you know, pre-1973, painted in lead paint, something like that. But I think if someone has a small woodshed that needs to come down to be replaced, if it's under 100 square feet, that falls in line with our current regulation.
Thank you for that. My barber,
The one for Tabby is talking about raising, go where, they go back to the town coffer.
mhm.
Can you tell me the two highest things on the list in front of you that might be affected?
Debbie, you want?
I am not sure I follow.
Is it something like?
What's the most expensive thing?
When I built a 200-foot square deck, I know in the past it was 25 cents a square foot, is it now going up to $10 a square foot?
No, it's going up to, well, it wasn't 25 cents a square foot. It was 5 cents a square foot for residential, 10 cents a square foot for commercial. So we're looking at going up to 10 cents a square foot for residential and 20
cents, yeah.
20 cents for commercial plus the base permit fee.
I was just using that as an example, is there
Okay.
something that's on the high end that would?
Yes, if you're gonna build a commercial complex, okay, then your base permit fee is higher, starting at $200 plus 20 cents a square foot. And depending on how big or what you are doing, that would vary depending on your square footage. But commercial property would be more expensive base fee than a standard residential.
I just wanted to make sure it wasn't something that was absorbent, the numbers sounded there.
And within the range of other,
No, it's-
Exactly.
yeah,
We
we're
are
just keeping up with the
actually- we will
Joneses.
still be lower than many of the towns that are on the grid. However, we are going to be in line with that overall fee structure. We're still lower than some.
and so if we vote on this tonight, Tabby. These will go into effect. When?
I was thinking February 1st,
Okay,
so that I could potentially publish something, or this would be, you know, if the board would like me to publish an announcement in the paper or something like that. There will certainly be something up on the website, plus updated forms with the new fee structure and sort of an explanation of how to do that, because I'm looking to get our fully electronic system in place very quickly. As part of this, I would also like to look at implementing an online payment system. And whether or not we use the same system that we're using for the transfer station, or look at what we are being provided. I'm gonna put together a comparison of what some of those costs are. I believe that unless something totally jumps out of line, the updated fees should be able to cover that service fee should somebody want to be able to pay with a credit card or online. And that should get us our fees quicker and cleaner.
good. Other questions? Somebody wanna make a motion?
Make a motion that we approve the recommended changes to the zoning fees from Tabby Friedman. Proposed fee schedule 2025 is the document name, effective February 1st.
Second,
Anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's unanimous for that. Okay, moving down over here. Sign ordinance fee schedule, update.
That the sign ordinance fee schedule is on that same proposed fee schedule. See, we looking to go to $25 a side instead of $10 per side, and then if the DRB meeting is required, the same DRB hearing fee would apply.
So did we just accidentally motion that into?
I think we did it all in one,
Okay,
but we can,
we wanna do it.
Well,
as-
it's listed as two separate items on.
I know, but it's on one
But it's
sheet.
on one sheet.
Right, and I
She
said,
just
and I
approved
said
it,
as
just
the,
approved
as
the
the
whole
document
sheet.
named. So that would include that.
Okay, so the sign permit, we can just ratify that too. Huh?
Maybe just the last line here, relates to signed permits.
Yeah, we just approved the whole document in the last one,
Okay.
so the whole, everything went up. So I think we're okay.
And I don't think Robert's rules and order is gonna come back.
Okay. Economic development, first, we're gonna start off with a marketing update with Tim Dolan.
All right, thanks. Can you guys hear me?
We can.
Awesome. So we just wanted to come on tonight and just respond to the comment that was made in the public comments meeting or two ago, just about the time on site for the marketing campaigns. So, I just want to start by saying, first and foremost, you got to remember that our campaigns are about awareness. So, it's about getting people interested in Southern Vermont, Deerfield Valley, and thinking about coming here. So, even though 22 seconds sounds like a small amount of time, in the marketing world, you got to think that, that's a pretty average amount. If you think about traditional forms of advertising, whether it be, commercials, which have typically, TV commercials, which are typically in the 30-second range, driving past a billboard, how long are you actually engaging with it? And if some of those instances, you're getting up and going to the bathroom or to the fridge during those TV commercials, or if you're doing 65 on the highway, that billboard is flashing by you in a second. So, those are all still good marketing techniques, even though you're interacting with the guests really in a short amount of period. As far as our, numbers specifically, I think I did compile again the total views for the year. So when I last, the presentation that was referred to was done at the end of October. So I've updated it with the entire 2024, which is a total number of views of 268,551 views. And of that, there's 170,275 users on it. Average engagement time did go up a little bit since that October update. So the total average engagement time rather is 26 seconds for the entire year of 2024. And then one of the big things that, you know, we as marketers look at is that engagement time and the number of people that did it over 30 seconds. So 30 seconds is kind of a, well, there's two things really. There's 30 seconds, which is considered a quality to engagement time. And so we're hovering just a little bit below that as our average, which isn't bad. And then, you know, the other one is 10 to 11 seconds is anybody over that is an engaged user. So we're well over that engaged user with our 26 seconds average. And again, for an average to be just below the 30-second engagement is good. Of the total number of users that spent that, you know, that were on the site, 75,684 of those spent more than 30 seconds. So that was just over 33%. So, you know, a little over a third of our users are hitting that, that threshold of 30 seconds. And, you know, for our campaign specifically, that number is about 26%. So, you know, and the other thing that I just wanted to mention with these is, you know, you got to remember our biggest push with marketing is, you know, that media spend in social media, and the average amount of time that a user spends on a social media post is 8 seconds. So if you take into account, you know, that their mindset is a really short-lived one when they're on social media. So they're seeing our ad, let's say they spend 8 seconds with it. Then they spend another 26 seconds on our website. They're now up to 34 seconds, which is, you know, about 4 times longer than the average amount of time someone thinks about one specific social media post, if that makes any sense at all. So those are the analytics that I had and just a little bit of explanation. Does that make sense to you guys, or is there anything else I can maybe clarify or expand on?
Anybody have any questions?
That was helpful just to think about in that context, though.
Yeah.
Those examples you gave, Tim, thank you.
Yeah, again, I know like when you're talking about seconds, it sounds like a really small amount of time, but social media especially has made the user's attention span smaller and smaller, you know, as social media gets bigger and bigger.
Anything from anybody? Thank you very much, Tim, for the update. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. I gotta get back to work, but thanks for having me. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye. Eric. Good evening.
I sent you all the sign quotes for the town office signage. So the two that we're talking about is the main sign out front, and the treasurer and zoning sign in the back of the office. Anybody who's driven by or walked by knows that those signs are in serious disrepair. And it's time to get them updated. So we received quotes, double-sided 48 by 30 out in the front, Dover Town offices, obviously 102 Vermont Route 100 with the logo like the Horace Hill sign, and a side sign with updated lettering and whatnot for Andy to use for his announcements, voting, dog licenses, things of that nature.
Oh, okay.
Taxes due.
Taxes due.
Mhm.
The second is the treasurer's office and zoning office sign. He did provide 2 quotes there. One for a carved version and one for a painted or vinyl lettering sign.
Mhm.
My recommendation, even though the price is higher, would be to go with the carved sign just because it's going to last a lot longer. The sign that is there has been there for a very long time, and I would imagine this one would be as well. So we might as well make it a good one.
So the carved sign is 1,100 for the treasurer, and zoning administrator.
Yeah.
And 525 for vinyl.
Correct.
So it's just basically covered.
It's a one-sided sign over here, because there's really only one spot beyond where that sign lives. The one out front obviously is double-sided.
Any questions about the signs?
That was just one bid, that's the best bid.
It's the only one that I have.
Dover sign shop.
I can get more bids if you'd like more bids.
Does the board want more bids?
Hmm. How much was the remaining sign again?
What's the kind of
47.
I use?
47?
So
So collectively, it's over 5,000.
Yes.
So,
Is this a vinyl sign?
It's the same carved MDU sign that you have at Horace Hill and the one.
Dimensional type, or is it flat?
It's carved in.
It's carved into the same as the Eastover sign or the one we had.
I feel like we should ask. Just because of the.
I agree with Sarah. I don't think it's gonna hold it. We're not gonna be putting the sign up any day soon, obviously. And just get a second one. I don't know. I love it's local
Yeah,
and there's gotta be somebody else who does signs in Southern Vermont.
We will get some numbers.
Thank you. And I see you've done the permitting work preliminary with Patty.
Correct, so we'll skip that for now, just because if we do end up going in a different direction, that permit may change.
Well, it doesn't, it's, the permit fee itself doesn't really address whether or not the sign is carved or vinyl or whatever, it's.
And it's no different
It's
if,
no different, it's just you'll be providing me the updated graphic, but.
but the
it is
graphics, but we pick the graphic,
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's not even gonna be different.
so
Should we can, I think we can vote on sign permit.
I think yes.
Yeah, the sign permit is valid for,
until
until it's built.
Yeah, there's no layout on it.
So then we're gonna move on to approve warning sign permit waiving sign permit application fees.
I make a motion that we waive the sign permit application fees for the signs on the Dovertown building,
Second.
front and back.
All in favor? Do you have a question?
Didn't we say that we were going to waive all? Didn't we have something that we were
No,
just?
we can't do that. We'll have to change our sign permit. I
Oh,
mean,
okay,
our,
that's right. That's right.
our whole, and that,
Gotcha. Never mind.
that all takes, so we have to do these
Yep, got it.
individually.
Remember, sorry.
We're not
Right,
here.
so did you want to vote? Are you
Yeah,
in
we cast
favor
the
of it?
vote. We cast the vote before I even said anything, so I said aye. Yeah.
Okay, aye, unanimous. Okay. The next item is WB Porta Potty request from snowmobilers.
so concerned business owner, Rich Werner, approached us about the possibility of putting a porta potty at the convenience gas station that is used by our snowmobilers. Hoping that we could get one there for the season, so I did reach out to the same two companies that we reached out to this summer for units. This time around, 802 restrooms actually came in cheaper because they gave us a discounted municipal rate. It's for an ADA standard unit, which is the larger of the two. We figured the snowmobilers would be wearing all their gear and not wanting to squeeze into a regular. So that would get us, it's basically $160 every 30 days until May 1st. The second company was at $175 every 30 days, plus an additional $20 every 30 days for the solution that keeps them from freezing in the winter. It's included in the 160 for 802 restrooms, so if you would like to move forward, I would recommend that we move forward with 802 restrooms.
Yes, Sarah.
My snowmobile expert,
Mhm.
is that a good location?
So Rich also approached us about putting a porta potty, because people are leaving themselves on his property. If Rich deems it necessary and the town wants to work with the snowmobilers to put this there, we approve of the unit going, wherever Rich feels it's best, you know. Rich said he would get back to us on where he thought it would best fit.
But putting one on Rich's, I understand that issue with the public urination. But is there another location that the snowmobile organization would think was a better location?
No, well, no, he wants it there. I mean,
Okay.
obviously they could go to a bathroom at the saloon or, wherever their destination
Right.
is. They might not know really where they are.
Okay.
At the point that they're going up to the slope.
Other comments? Joe, you're rolling your eyes.
Alright, so,
Well, your eyeball said something.
I have one question.
Yes,
Where do we intend to put this?
at WB in that area. That's what they were just talking about.
Yeah, there's a number of locations that I've discussed with Rich, and obviously, much like the one in the town park and the ones that we got for the pickleball courts, my hope is that it would be, not hidden, but tucked back, so that it's not right on the side of Route 100.
Does somebody want to make a motion or say what if they do want the porta potty?
I make a motion that we approve expenditure of $160 a month for porta potty, an ADA compliant porta potty to be placed in the property at WMB management.
Second.
I'm gonna ask you to amend your motion until May 1st.
Until May 1st.
Second. Any other discussion?
Mike, you think that's an acceptable amount of time, right? We
May
don't.
first is after the snow.
Yeah, that's what I
From
think.
December 15th to April 15th.
Okay,
One month.
thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 from for, that's what I'm saying.
Should we make it, can you make it to April 15th if it's only till,
We're still gonna pay a month.
oh, okay, we're not starting, okay.
So you're in favor?
Uh. Yeah, aye.
Okay. So Joe
Pour one out.
abstains. Okay, now we're going to go sledding on the vast trails at Horace Hill.
No, we're not gonna go sledding.
So I guess this was discussed at the trails meeting the other night.
It was, so the general consensus of the Trails and Recreation Committee is that we should hang signage for this season, just basically saying no sledding on Horace Hill until we can kind of distinguish which areas it is acceptable to be sledding on Horace Hill. The last thing that we need is someone coming down that vast trail, and running into a sled coming up. So it's the Trails and Rec Committee's recommendation and my recommendation that we say no sledding on Horace Hill for at least this season.
There,
I just said the reason that I was in favor of the no sledding at all is I think we need to take time to figure out if there's a place we can do it where it isn't going to be interfering with other activities there. And my experience usually is if you say you can do it here, but you can't do it here, they're still gonna do it here. And so it seemed like just making it a blanket no, at least until we can scope it out better, even more sense.
with signage.
Correct.
Yeah.
Mr. Garber,
I'd like to also see that include skiing. No sledding or skiing. Vast trail, there's no reason.
on the vast trail.
On the vast trail, no reason for skiers to come down that hill. At all. That's, hey, listen, it's your piece of property. If it was a private piece of property, a private owner would say probably the same thing that I'm saying.
Sarah,
Is there, I'm trying to remember the map, but is there a section of the trail that's multi-use?
All of our trails.
I thought there was one part of the vast trail that was not.
The top section, the top third maybe is a hiking trail that comes down and connects back into one of the hiking trails that was made.
Sarah,
So if we're not gonna do sledding and so are there activities besides snowmobiling that you think would be compatible with snowmobile use? Hiking or snowshoeing? Okay.
yes, Mike,
I think the difference there is, I've seen it too, there's people
downhill skiing there. There are people that take, skin up and come down in Horace Hill, but when they do it on the vast trail, for the same reason that you don't want sleds, it's harder for them to stop. I think it's more that. I'm more worried about sled and skiers hitting a sled than vice versa, if that makes sense. So I think the fact that that's a downhill, whereas there's parts of the Valley Trail out, crosstown trail rather, that are shared with some people cross-country ski there, but they're not coming downhill and not able to stop in a tight area when there's sleds coming up. Is where I see the difference.
Gravity.
I'm for having no sledding and downhill skiing.
Gravity.
Yeah.
Controlled.
Mike? Michael, so Mike,
And just to be clear, I'm really only concerned with the top section, which is everything on top of Earl Farm Road. That's where really we would sign it, no skiing, no sledding. On the top portion, and then again on the Earl Farm Road portion.
Andy,
So. You're just talking about the vast trail, like if they outlaw sledding on Forest Hill.
That is
You're not saying you want them to outlaw skiing on all of Forest Hill, just on your vast trail.
Just on the vast trail. You guys can decide if you want it on the rest of Forest Hill.
And only on the portion of Earl Farm Road, which is a vast trail. The rest of it is open skiing.
Correct. Only the portion with the steep downhill between the Mount Snow Golf Course and Earl Farm Road. Below Earl Farm Road going out to the Valley Trail, that is the vast trail and also a shaded trail. I'm not talking about that portion of the trail.
Oh, cool. I don't know, my comment would be, I don't know how you sign it to accomplish that goal, but, I just wanted to make sure that you're not outlawing skiing on Horace Hill. The one section of Bass Trail Mike's talking about, I would be perfectly happy to have not be able to ski on it, but the rest of Horace Hill is really nice to ski.
Eric,
Are we signing or are you?
Whichever's quicker, we'll get to it as quickly as possible.
Okay.
You probably are.
okay. Mike and then Sarah.
So in talking about signing, it's not, it's adjacent to this topic. There's been snowmobile traffic on the Valley Trail. They've been going across the bridge. So to
Oh,
the
no.
best of my knowledge, there's one snowmobile with a line through its sign coming northbound across that bridge and none going south across the bridge. Again, I think it'd be good to put some better signage there, and I don't know who would be responsible for that, but we've seen it quite a bit. If you go out and walk it, you can see where the tracks have been on the bridge.
Sarah, you're next.
Well, I was gonna say, I've also seen, to piggyback on that, I've also seen snowmobilers riding down the Valley Trail. Between what used to be Layla's and the Valley View Saloon. Where isn't there a bridge in the back that they can go to traverse over? They're right on the trail riding. So I don't know if it's just a matter of they were looking, they saw that, their GPS told them Valley Trail was, or the Valley View Saloon was there, and they took what they thought was the shortest route. But yes, that I would want signage. Very obvious signage to keep people off the Valley Trail, including the bridge. As far as signage on the vast trail, at the top bottom, just, skiing not permitted, and signage at any entrance point to to Horace Hill saying, sledding not permitted. Right?
Mike, do you have something else?
So yeah, let's get away from the signage of Forest Hill, which we will take care of on both the top and bottom. And move on to the bridge. Snowmobiles are not allowed, there's snowmobile on. Incredibly, yesterday, I had the idea to take 2 cones and put no snowmobiling signs on either end of that bridge. So those cones were out there all day today, and obviously nobody saw them. I don't know if you want me to keep them there or not, because they'll only be in the way when somebody comes in to groom the valley trail. People obviously will walk right around. So they are there right now, you can take a look, I can remove them as easily as I hit them down. And I think that is a start to really signifying that people can snowmobile across the bridge. When it comes to the valley trail, we're gonna have to maybe put a couple of signs on Legless Lawn, sucking them into, whatever the place is called, instead of them just making it.
Maple something or other, yeah.
So they have to come onto their lawn. So,
Okay, Eric,
To that point, it's not just snowmobiles, we just had to put a no motorized vehicle sign at the edge of Rich's parking lot to keep vehicles from driving up north and south on the valley trail, so there's.
well, and the amount that we spent to refurb that bridge, no way can we have snowmobiles on it again, no way, yes.
So to that point, now I put these cones there, and I wanna make sure they don't interfere with the machines that you guys use to plow. Now, of course, we could come back and say to ourselves, during the winter time with permanent metal gates that could have a pedestrian walkway, but not be wide enough for snowmobiles to go through. If we want to explore that in the future, if the cones are perfect, please keep seeing them come through.
Mike,
So we did see the cone today, I figured out how they put it up because Dave was upset that people were in the bridge again, but. There was talk of putting some sort of removing the pylons in the winter time, but they would possibly freeze up and everything.
Yeah.
Point is that Dave's rooming machine does it all.
yeah,
And
it
so
does,
he
but,
needs-
and if he has to get out and move it and
Yeah.
then put it back,
I
Yeah.
don't know that it's
Yeah,
all-
but
so
the
there's-
pylons can, if that couples with water, that should,
Yeah.
so I would think for right now, the cones are a good solution, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
As long as nobody gets creative and moves them.
Did you agree?
Scott.
he
I was
said,
saying thank you, Mike, for putting those out there. You're good.
We need a lot of signage, clearly. Have we had this problem in years past, or is this a new phenomenon?
which problem?
The
There's three
driving
we're
and
Well-
snowmobiling on the Valley Trail, and we did allow it for a bit. Oh,
If I just show you
yes.
something real quick, it's
Yep.
pretty simple and easy. You see the two trails, you got the one that comes to 7-Eleven, and you got the one that goes to Rich's.
Mhm.
So people are trying to get across. And trying to get across Route 100, but there is no access. So that's half the battle right there, correct or incorrect, Mike?
Being across from the gas station.
Either, there's,
to.
I'm just looking at the map, you can't get across,
Correct.
but yet you can see the two trails.
When that bridge was built,
I know,
it did not incorporate
I know.
snowmobiling and the.
You can't get
foresight
around.
wasn't put in, and we right now are really trying to figure out a way to make a legal crossing at that spot. It's gonna take a little creativity, we're not there yet, it's not gonna happen this year. It's gonna be a very expensive situation, but it would be nice.
But are you able to get to 7-Eleven now?
No 7-Eleven access.
You can't
We're not-
get there.
We're not going into Overtown Park, no, it stops at.
So it stops at
Flatbread.
Flatbread.
But that Horace Hill Trail, we just got groomed last night for the first time ever. And we're very excited to be able to bring people now to American Flatbread, Black Ember, and TC's, all at once.
Okay. All right, so. Okay,
So to fully exhaust the point, there's also a slight issue of coming down off of Horace Hill. There's nowhere for the sleds to go if that parking lot's full. They have to go on the Valley Trail to get around cars. So I don't know who really has the control of that parking area, but it would be ideal if there were some cones or something that had a no parking spot, so that sleds could come and go through there, so they don't have to turn left or right up the Valley Trail, which as soon as one sled does it, every sled thinks that's the way to go.
right,
So, we've noticed that a couple of times coming down that way on patrol, that when you get there, there's nowhere to go. You have to go on the Valley Trail and get around the cars one way or the other. It's close to the doors for the business, so the parking lot's full there.
Mike,
So my groomers were worried coming down, there would be cars in the way. And I told them that at the times they were coming in, customers were all gone. I had totally, not even thought that the customers that are there during the day are blocking the snowmobile from coming in. So yes, I will go talk to the Black Hammer, and I think it's their people that need to stay out of that one parking spot. And that would be the job.
Great.
Build an overpass.
Did you have something to say, Dan?
No,
Okay. Anybody else have something to say about sledding or snowmobiling or skiing and on any of these properties? So does the board? We need to vote to have no sledding in Horace Hill this year and to limit the skiing and not have skiing on the Earl Farm up the hill towards the country club, the golf course. Okay.
So I make a motion that we prohibit sledding on the entirety of the Horace Hill property. And that we prohibit skiing on the vast trail from the golf course to the Earl Farm Road.
second.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. And we will
So we could-
revisit.
Do we want
Next
to decide now who's gonna do signage, or do we want just Eric and Michael can talk and figure that out?
We can figure it out.
Perfect.
Very good. And we want to do everything we can to prevent snowmobiles on the Valley Trail and the bridge.
Right, I was gonna make a list of the signs and I'll text it to Eric.
Okay, next we got the Q2 update from the Economic Development Department.
All right, so revenue, the town received $92,613.31 in 1% tax revenue on November 6th for the period of August 3rd through November 1st. The same payment last year was $133,726.80. So this year represents 31% decrease. Historically, the payment we received this year seems in line with the payment we usually get in that quarter. It's just that 2023 was exceptionally high.
I know, and that frustration that every town has, who has 1% local option of not getting good reporting from the state, getting erratic reporting, stuff that just doesn't make any sense, and with no help trying to understand or use that data as a tool is just criminal in my mind. And so I know that there's a movement afoot to try to get back some of our 1% money, and hopefully we can get some things changed.
Yeah, that didn't make it onto the update, but myself and Vic attended the meeting with VLCT where they are trying to get back a surplus of 1% funds, as well as renegotiate, and also to try to make what the state is doing a little more transparent so that we have a better idea in terms of our initiatives, you know, what's helping and what isn't when we get those payments. Marketing, approved the DTAP applications, presented the Bytown marketing update and approved for the fiscal year funding. We created and launched the Van Wango Discover Dover Pass for the local businesses, which is going very well. Trails, we held the Horace Hill ribbon cutting on October 13th and had an additional boardwalk installed over the muddy area headed into the lower loops. Locked in our tour date for the Vermont Disc Golf Tournament stop in Dover for 2025. And we have been invited to apply for the second round of the Land Water Conservation Fund grant program for a skate park in Dover. Housing approved the contract with Deckard for STR registration. We are in the process of finalizing that implementation for STR registration. I actually have the final run through with them Thursday. And then creating framework for that accessory dwelling unit incentive program. And then the actuals for Q2 are on the back.
Anybody have any comments or questions? You've been busy. Good job, thank you. Now we're moving on to the Board of Liquor Control.
I make the motion to go into the Board of Liquor Control.
Do I have a second? Second by Joe. So the first one is a special event permit for St. Johnsbury Distillery for the Ski Vermont Food and Beverage Day at the Inn at Mount Snow on March 15th, 2025.
I make a motion that we approve the special event permit for St. Johnsbury Distillery for Ski Vermont Food and Beverage Day at the Inn at Mount Snow, March 15th, 2025.
Second.
Are you okay with this?
Hearing,
Chief,
thumb me, he already thumbed up me.
okay, all in favor?
Uh,
Aye. Now, we need to come out of the Board of Liquor Control,
I make a motion, we come out of the liquor control.
huh?
there's one. Just drinking.
Would somebody like to second that?
Second.
Dan won. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have the consent agenda. We have to approve the minutes of January 7th.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes of January 7th, 2025.
Second.
Any changes or anything else on that? All in favor? Aye. All right, now we have the warrants from January 18th in the amount of $199,863.62.
I make a motion, we approve the warrants of January 18th, 2025 for $199,863.62.
Second.
Any,
Abstain.
thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Okay, and one abstain. Okay, FYIs, and I've added one to this. Tomorrow's a Board of Abatement meeting here at 6 p.m. Then there's a Water Task Force meeting tomorrow night at 5 p.m. at the Westover Fire Department.
Yes.
Pre-town meeting is scheduled for February 25th at 6 p.m. at the Dover Town Hall. Town meeting is March 4th at 10 a.m. at the Dover Town Hall. And the Select Board reorganizational meeting will be March 5th at 6:30 p.m. Which is a Wednesday.
I'll be gimping.
All right, liaison reports? None? Yes,
One.
you're a liaison?
No, when it's done, when it's done.
Well, we're just about ready to go into executive session, so this is your last chance.
Gotcha. So who owns that parking lot, the Horace Hill parking? lot? Rich County.
Mhm.
And so your parking, the town that's using those parking spaces asks Rich,
We have
We have an
just
agreement.
recently signed an agreement with him.
so you have an agreement.
Yes.
So I think I first have to ask you if I can clear one spot for the snowmobiles.
We'll talk about it.
Oh,
We can meet with Rich. We'll
Yeah.
get it figured.
We're all in favor of the sleds being able to go somewhere. So,
Safely.
Out on our trails.
okay,
Well,
all right, so, we are going to go into executive session at 7:22 p.m. You have a second?
I don't second, a motion to go into executive session.
At 6:22, second by Dan. For personnel. Recording.